Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you know where you are, and if you don't, this is Killroy's Keep, which means that I must be Killroy, and welcome to my very first video. For my first video here, I decided to talk about a game series near and dear to my heart and the hearts of many a gamer out there. With an impressive game library spanning almost 30 years with no end in sight, I'm here to talk about The Legend of Zelda. More specifically, the items, weapons, and tools necessary to get through these wonderful games. That's right, this is my top 10 Legend of Zelda items. But before I get to the list, I find it necessary to go over a couple things. Firstly, I have excluded all swords, shields, and musical items, as you basically can't have a Zelda game without them anymore. They are an integral part of almost every game, and having them on the list, at least in my opinion, makes the list pretty dull. Secondly, I have grouped together some items for the sake of the list, because if I didn't, this would be much more than a top 10. Now that that's out of the way, let's get to it. Number 10, The Lens of Truth, from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Who hasn't wished that they were able to see through walls and other solid objects in order to find what they're looking for? Well, Link never needs to worry about that after finding the Lens of Truth. Showcased in the 2 installments on the N64, then later brought to the GameCube, and now both are on the 3DS, the Lens of Truth allows Link to see through false walls, see invisible platforms, and even see the ghosts of the departed, or just the very boring. The reason that this is so low on the list is because it is only in these 2 games, at least for use, and even then it's only necessary for Majora's Mask, seeing as it's purely optional in Ocarina of Time. Number 9, The Beetle, from Skyward Sword. Yes, the Beetle. Now I know what you're thinking. Isn't the Beetle just Skyward Sword's version of the classic boomerang? Why not just put that in here? Here's why. This item is actually amusing. It takes the best of both the boomerang and the use of the Hyoi pair from Wind Waker and rolls it into one cute little package. It makes good use of the motion controls for the Wii. It's much more controllable than the boomerang, and it can even be upgraded in the course of the game. Not only that, but it actually scares bokoblins, and it can carry bombs to drop on enemies. It might as well be called the precursor to the Kinsect for how useful and adaptable it is. There's a little MH4 humor for all you fellow hunters out there. Number 8, the Dominion Rod, from Twilight Princess and Hyrule Warriors. Next up, one of the more fun items from Twilight Princess, the Dominion Rod, a magical item used to control statues to not only make them run around, but also to use the giant hammers some of them carry to smash barriers and enemies. It is vital to the game's completion to unlock and use this item, and honestly, I put this one on the list because it was something new. It was something different after so many years of playing the series. It is also wielded by Princess Zelda in Hyrule Warriors, and can be used in 3 different ways, changed through the strong attack option. Zelda can either fight by manipulating the ball of energy at the tip, by summoning the giant statues with the hammers to attack enemies, or by summoning the owl statues located around Hyrule and Twilight Princess to take out groups of enemies at once. All in all, it's a uniquely fun item both in Twilight Princess and in Hyrule Warriors. Number 7, the Hammer and the Ball and Chain, from various games. Now we come to arguably the strongest non-sword weapons in the history of The Legend of Zelda. For as long as there have been stakes to drive into the ground, and barriers that not even bombs can get through, there's been the hammer, and in Twilight Princess, the ball and chain. Why is it so low on the list if it's one of the strongest items, you might ask? Simple. It's not the best. However, it is a staple and has followed Link through the years, including to the GameCube version of Soul Calibur 2. I also added the ball and chain to this entry because it acted in the same manner while being, in my book, a bit more fun. While smashing things with a hammer is always enjoyable, seeing Link swing a massive ball and chain around is just a fun visual. Number 6, Magic Rods and Canes, various games. Another staple of the series, especially the top-down games such as Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds, Magic Rods and Canes have been around since day 1. The item to start it all came from the very first Legend of Zelda and was simply called the Magical Rod. It has since branched and blossomed to include a variety of magics, including fire, ice, sand manipulation, and summoning solid blocks of magic. I realized that this entry could have also included the Dominion Rod, and this may be true, but I found the Dominion Rod to be a welcome change from just shooting blasts of energy around or summoning barriers, and since it was only a tool in one game and a weapon in one other, it's lower on the list. Also, the Cane of Burna was one of Link's unlockable weapons in Soul Calibur 2. I'm sensing a small pattern here. Anyone else? Number 5, Transformation Masks, from Majora's Mask. A must-have on any list, it seems. The masks found in Termina are a wonderful set of items that give the sequel to the classic Ocarina of Time its own unique flair. I could have just gone with all of the masks, but decided that it might be better to just go with the ones that change up the gameplay. Therefore, the transformation masks, aka the Deku Scrub, Goron, Zora, and Fierce Deity masks. The three racial masks transform Link into the forms of three departed souls that still had business in Termina. The Fierce Deity mask can only be obtained after getting all 23 other masks in the game and then trading in all non-transformation masks before the final boss battle. This mask can only be used in boss battles, which sets it apart from all the rest, specifically because of how powerful it makes Link, who takes on the form of an almost pure Hylian adult Link wielding the double Helix Blade. Number 4. The Spinner, from Twilight Princess and Hyrule Warriors. And now we come to, in my opinion, one of the most fun items on this list. The Spinner, originally from Twilight Princess and later used as a weapon and transport device in Hyrule Warriors. This item is used in its debut game to ride along rails, up walls, over sand, etc., and is prominently used in one of my favorite boss battles against Star-Lord. In Hyrule Warriors, Link triumphantly rides the spinner into battle, acting like a human Beyblade and letting it rip all over his enemies. After Volga, Link with the spinner is honestly my favorite part of Hyrule Warriors, although when it comes to the 3DS, playing as Tetra may just take my number 2 spot. That being neither here nor there, though, the spinner is a very fun addition to the long list of Link's tools. Thinking about it, Twilight Princess had a pretty good inventory when it came to innovative items, and I'm glad Nintendo realized that when making Hyrule Warriors. Number 3. The Hookshot/Claw Shot from various games. Now that we've gotten to the top 3, we come back to the staples of the series, starting with the Hookshot. Ever since its debut in A Link to the Past, the Hookshot has been used for many things: long-distance item grabbing, stealing items from enemies, and being able to swing and soar through the air as long as there are points available nearby. The Hookshot also has one major advantage over the Claw Shot from later games, specifically that it was able to grab onto treasure chests and pull Link to them. The Hookshot was traded out for the Claw Shot in, surprise surprise, Twilight Princess. It acted much the same as the Hookshot up until you got to the City in the Sky, where you acquired a second Claw Shot. This allowed Link to not only attach to walls, vines, and hanging points on the ceilings, but then allowed him to hang or hold on to his first shot while steadying another. If it were any more fluid, you'd be able to Spider-Man your way through the City in the Sky. I would have also added the grappling hook to this entry, but as the Hookshot was in Wind Waker, I had to put it aside. Number 2. Specialty Arrows from various games. The penultimate Legend of Zelda item in this gamer's opinion, specialty arrows have technically been around since the original game. It all started with the Silver Arrows, which were items in both the original Legend of Zelda and Link to the Past. These arrows were necessary to defeat Ganon, as they dealt massive damage to them. The more popular arrows came about in Ocarina of Time, those being the Fire, Ice, and Light arrows. The Fire and Ice arrows do what one would expect from the names. Fire arrows can light torches, burn wooden barricades and shields, etc., while Ice arrows can freeze enemies as well as certain points of water, and occasionally even lava, looking at you, Wind Waker. Now, seeing as the Light arrows are also needed to fight Ganon/Ganondorf, you might think that they're just a reboot of the Silver arrows. However, this is not entirely true. In the original games, you would stun Ganon with your sword, and then finish him off with the arrow. In the later games, the Light arrow was needed to stun Ganon and set him up for the finishing blow from the Master Sword. For me, it seems that the Light and Silver arrows pay homage to Apollo and Artemis from Greek mythology. One used to stun and set up a final blow, one used to hunt. Either way, these arrows are a magical addition to Link's armory and help him out on all of his journeys, whether they're actually items in the game or he's making his own by firing arrows through torches. Before we get to number 1, I'd like to give out a few honorable mentions. First, to the classic staple, the boomerang. Next, the Pegasus boots that allow Link to run at breakneck speeds, and then the Rock's cape, which allows him to soar off ledges and over jumps. I'd also like to give a mention to the assorted gloves and bracelets in the games, including the Power Bracelet, which is really the forerunner to the Silver and Golden Gauntlets, the Goron Bracelet, and especially the Mole Mitts. Quick aside, this is one of those items that I'm really sad I couldn't put on this list. I really liked this item in Minish Cap, and had a lot of fun in the areas that Link could just dig around in. And this item did get brought back in Skyward Sword with the digging mitts, but I honestly just love the visual shown here. Cute little Link with his mole gloves rather than older Link with those claws. Seriously, look at them side to side. Mole mitts, cute tool for a cute game. Digging mitts, why aren't I using these as a weapon? And finally, number 1. Bombs. Various games. Bombs. Need I say more? A classy little explosion using an almost cartoony-looking bomb, the classic big round bomb with a wick. Another item Link has used since day 1, and it's never left his side. including the times he's seen in non-Legend of Zelda titles like, once again, Soul Calibur 2, or the more popular Super Smash Bros. Series. Bombs are used to rid Link's path of boulders and enemies alike, and through the years have seen upgrades including bomb chews, underwater bombs, and bomb arrows. There have also been different uses for the bombs, such as in Twilight Princess, when bombs can be used to power cannons on certain levels, firing cannonballs through impassable barricades or enemies. All in all, the bombs are one of the most iconic items in the Legend of Zelda franchise, and tops this top 10. And that's it for Top 10 Legend of Zelda items. Thank you for watching, Keepmates. Now before I end this, I would like to say a few things. First, my second video will be a little different than this one was. This video I carefully thought out and scripted what I was going to say. For the next one, I'm going to see what happens when I improvise. Just me, the list I've chosen, and the microphone. Second, if you liked what you saw, please like and share this video. And if you want to see more top 10s, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Finally, if you have any suggestions for more top 10s that you want to see me do, please send me a message or comment on this video. You can contact the Keep on Facebook and Tumblr, links are below. Thank you once again for watching, and until next time, ciao!